In the frozen mountains of Colorado, a former Special Forces soldier returned home after his father's death. But what he uncovered beneath the old cabin would change his destiny forever. A hidden vault buried in darkness, secret files stolen from a powerful corporation, and proof that his father wasn't just a mechanic. He was a silent guardian fighting against a deadly human experiment targeting innocent people. Now, with his loyal German shepherd by his side, Michael must confront the same evil that hunted his father until his last breath. As bullets fly, trust breaks, and the truth shakes his entire world, he discovers that God's greatest miracles are often delivered through courage, loyalty, and love. If you believe faith still protects families from the darkness around us, do not scroll away. Hit subscribe, share this story, and comment Amen to spread God's light of hope and redemption. May the Lord bless and protect every one of you watching today. The small mountain town of Silver Creek in Colorado lay sunk in the cold grip of late autumn. A thin veil of icy mist crawled across the valley floor, swallowing the pine trees and stretching up the hills like pale fingers reaching for the sky. Frost clung to the wooden fence posts that lined the winding road, and the moon hung low, half hidden behind restless clouds. Nights here were not just dark. They were heavy, as if the mountains themselves wanted to bury every secret beneath their shadow. Michael Carter tightened his jacket collar as he stepped out of his truck. He was 38 years old, tall with broad shoulders strengthened by years of military service. His jaw was angular, covered with short stubble that grew faster than he liked. There was a stillness in his gaze, something learned from battlefields far away, where silence meant survival. His hair was dark brown, trimmed short in a way that suggested discipline never left him, even after leaving the Special Forces. There were faint scars under his left eye and along his right forearm, silent souvenirs of places and missions he tried not to remember. Beside him jumped down his loyal German shepherd, Rex, 4 years old, sharply alert, with tan and black fur that shone under the moonlight. Rex moved with the confidence of a trained protector, ears flicking at every sound, muscles ready to spring into action. The dog had served with Michael in the military, trained to track, detect intruders, and protect at all costs. His amber eyes scanned the perimeter as if he already sensed that something was off tonight. The house stood quietly at the edge of the woods, a single-story cabin built by Michael's father decades ago. Weathered wood siding, a sagging front porch, and windows that reflected nothing but darkness. After his father's recent passing, Michael had returned only to assess the property and perhaps sell it. Yet, the moment his boots sank into the frost-hardened soil of the yard, a lingering ache twisted inside his chest. He had not expected the memories to hurt like this. His father, Robert Carter, had been a simple man in Michael's eyes, a mechanic who fixed trucks, always smelled of engine oil, and liked his coffee too strong. There had been nothing remarkable or dangerous about him. At least, that was what Michael believed. Rex sniffed the ground near the porch steps, suddenly stiffening. His tail stood rigid as he let out a low warning growl. Michael paused, instincts blaring like alarms. Rex did not growl without purpose. The dog tracked the scent, moving slowly toward the side of the house where an old shed stood. The padlock on it dangled uselessly from its latch, broken clean through, a trespasser. Michael's pulse steadied, not quickened. His training took over. He lowered his voice to a whisper only Rex recognized. Search. Rex slipped into the darkness like a shadow, paws silent against the frosted grass. Michael followed close behind, every sense sharpened. The wind carried a faint metallic scent of tools and old machinery from the shed, mixed with something newer. Footprints, fresh ones, heavy, cautious steps. There was someone here, someone who should not be. The door to the shed creaked just slightly, like a breath being held. Michael could see a sliver of movement inside. He approached, keeping his weight balanced, his boots barely crunching the ground. His right hand instinctively slid toward the concealed knife strapped inside his boot, the only weapon he carried tonight. He had expected an empty homecoming, not a threat lurking in his father's yard. Before he could reach the door, a stack of old tin buckets toppled over with a loud metallic crash. Rex lunged forward with a sharp bark, eyes locked on a figure scrambling out the back window. The man ran toward the woods, stumbling over the tree roots hidden beneath leaves. Michael took off after him, his legs moving fast despite the cold tightening his muscles. The chase cut through the trees. Branches whipped across Michael's sleeves, and Rex bounded ahead, growling fiercely. The intruder was not athletic. He moved clumsily, like a man not used to running or fleeing danger. Moonlight caught glimpses of him. Medium height, a bit bulky around the waist, jacket torn at the shoulder as if he had ripped it climbing through the shed window. His dark hair was messy, and he kept looking back in fear, breathing harshly in muffled gasps. Whoever he was, he had not expected a trained soldier and a K-9 unit. The slope steepened. The intruder slipped on the frost-covered ground and crashed to his knees. Before he could get up, Rex pinned him down with a snarl, teeth bared inches from the man's throat. The stranger raised his trembling hands in surrender, his voice cracking in pure panic. "Okay. Okay. Don't let the dog bite." Michael arrived and pulled Rex back a few inches, giving the man room to breathe but not to escape. Under the moonlight, Michael saw the fear in the intruder's pale blue eyes. His face was unshaven, cheeks hollow like someone who had not been eating or sleeping well. His clothes were cheap, worn out, not the kind a professional thief would choose. He looked more desperate than dangerous. Michael pressed a knee to the man's shoulder to keep him grounded. "You picked the wrong house," he said, low and controlled. "What are you doing here?" I was just looking," the man stuttered, trying to avoid eye contact, which only heightened Michael's suspicion. "Looking for what?" Michael pushed harder, and the man winced. I thought no one lived here. I needed, something to sell." A flimsy lie. Michael could hear the quiver of guilt embedded in the man's tone. Rex growled again, sensing deceit. Michael's military intuition whispered that this stranger was here for more than petty theft. He could feel secrets swirling in the cold air, hidden beneath the ground he stood on. His father's shed. Broken lock. The man's terror. It did not add up. He tightened his grip on the man's jacket collar. "You have one chance to tell the truth. Why this house?" The man swallowed hard. His breath fogged the air between their faces. The silence stretched, heavy with dread. Something bigger than both of them had just begun. The man lay on the cold ground, breathing heavily, while Rex maintained a tense stance beside Michael, baring sharp teeth just inches from the stranger's face. The forest around them had grown eerily quiet, as though even the wind was waiting for the truth to surface. The stranger's voice trembled as he repeated his earlier lie, insisting that he only came to steal something to sell. Michael could see the deception dripping off every word. Years of surviving interrogations, reading micro-expressions, and trusting instinct had sharpened his judgment. The stranger avoided eye contact, and his fingers twitched nervously, signs of someone holding back a deeper truth. Michael grabbed his arm and pulled him to his feet, shoving him toward the house. Rex circled behind, pushing the man forward with bursts of low barking. "Inside," Michael ordered. The cabin's dim light flickered as they stepped in. Dust still lingered from years of neglect, and the scent of old pine wood clung to every wall. Michael pushed the intruder into a wooden chair at the kitchen table. Rex sat beside him, ears pointed up, ready to strike. The man's chest rose and fell rapidly. His eyes darted around the room, as though searching for a way out. Michael leaned close, locking his stern gaze on him. "You know who lived here?" Michael said. "You targeted this house for a reason. What do you want?" The man hesitated, jaw clenched. His fingers fidgeted with his jacket zipper, a nervous tick that made Michael narrow his eyes. "I told you," the intruder began, but Michael slammed his hand down on the table, rattling a long-forgotten mug that had belonged to his father. "Do not lie to me," he snapped. "Last chance, or Rex will make you talk." Rex let out a threatening growl to reinforce the point. The stranger swallowed hard. His voice cracked as he forced himself to speak. "All right, fine. I was sent here." Michael's expression stilled, focused. "By who?" The intruder hesitated. Fear spread across his face. He looked like a man trapped between two dangers, one in front of him and one far worse behind him. Finally, he whispered, "A company. A big one. They said your father had something he stole from them before he died." The words punched into Michael like a cold blade. His father? Stealing? His father, who spent decades fixing engines and drinking black coffee while complaining about the price of fuel. That man? It made no sense. "You expect me to believe that my dad was involved with what? Corporate espionage?" Michael asked, voice low. The intruder nodded shakily. "I swear. They said he worked for them years ago. Not as a mechanic. Something else. Something about confidential research." Michael stared at the man, stunned. For a second, the cabin seemed to tilt beneath his feet. He remembered his father's unreadable sighs during late-night news broadcasts, the unmarked envelopes he tucked away quickly when Michael walked in, the times he disappeared with excuses about helping old friends. Details overlooked now returned with unsettling clarity. "What is this company?" Michael pressed. The stranger's lips tightened. He hesitated too long. Rex growled again, louder this time, moving his snout closer to the man's shaking hands. "Evergen," he finally spat out. "They are everywhere. Biotech, pharmaceuticals, security contracts. They have more power than the government in some places." The name sent a chill deeper than the mountain air. Evergen. Michael had seen that name on billboards, medical clinics, even military contractor badges during deployment. A company so large it could hide entire worlds in its shadows. "What did my father take?" Michael asked. The intruder shook his head, fear escalating. "I do not know exactly. They only said he took information, proof of something illegal, something that would destroy them if it ever came out." Michael stepped back slowly, feeling the weight of his father's unseen life pressing against his chest. He had come here expecting closure, a final farewell. Instead, he found cracks in every memory he once believed solid. His father was no ordinary man. "Why were you chosen?" Michael asked. The intruder let out a humorless laugh. "Chosen? No, I was threatened. They found out I was behind on debts. They said if I did not break in and bring whatever I found to a drop-off tomorrow night, I would disappear." just like others who failed them. His eyes glistened with desperation and shame. Michael understood what fear could make a man do. He also knew that letting this man go would lead Evergen straight back to his father's secrets. "Your name?" Michael finally demanded. The man clenched his teeth, then whispered, "Adam." It was the only piece of identity he could still protect, offered reluctantly. Michael tied Adam's hands with an old rope, while Rex watched closely. He would not let Adam slip away. Michael needed answers, and the first clue had just arrived in the form of a terrified, trembling man who revealed the first fracture in the lie his father lived. The truth had just begun to surface. Something dangerous was buried in this house, something worth killing for. Michael glanced toward the hallway that led to the old basement door. If Evergen wanted what was hidden here, he would find it first. Michael kept Adam tied to the chair, securing the knots with the precision of someone who had once depended on knots to save lives. Rex continued to watch the trembling intruder with sharp, unrelenting focus. The silence in the cabin grew oppressive, as though the entire house was holding its breath. Michael approached the hallway with a flashlight he kept in his go-bag. Dust floated through the beam like tiny specters of memory. Every creak of the wooden floorboards reminded him that this was his childhood home, yet he had never truly known it. Rex stayed close to his side, tail stiff, muscles ready, understanding that danger lurked below the surface. Michael reached the old basement door, its wood scarred by years of tools leaning against it. He remembered his father strictly forbidding him from entering the basement as a kid. Back then, he assumed it was only because of rusty equipment or unstable shelves. Now, the truth felt far more sinister. The doorknob turned with a loud metallic click, and a cold draft seeped upward. Rex's ears rose like antennae. They descended the creaking steps. The basement was larger than Michael remembered, with rows of dusty boxes, shelves filled with spare parts, and stacks of newspapers so old the ink had bled into the paper. The scent of oil and metal lingered, consistent with his father's identity as a mechanic. Yet something felt wrong, too organized, too intentional. Michael scanned the walls, noticing a section where the stone bricks looked newer, cleaner, less covered in decay. He approached it, placing a hand over the surface. A faint vibration pulsed beneath. He was hiding something, Michael murmured to Rex. The dog sniffed along the base of the structure, eventually pawing at a metal edge that extended slightly from the floor. Michael knelt and brushed away a layer of dirt, revealing a concealed latch. Carefully, he tugged it upward. The wall clicked, then shifted inward. A hidden door slowly exposed itself. The passage behind it exhaled stale, cold air, like a vault unopened in decades. Michael swung the door wider, and Rex stepped forward cautiously. A narrow staircase spiraled downward into darkness. Michael followed, flashlight slicing through the black void. The air here was different, sterile, almost laboratory-like. At the bottom, a metallic room stretched before them. The walls glinted with reinforced steel plates. Cabinets lined both sides, each secured with coded locks that flashed faint red lights. A steel desk sat in the center, holding a neatly arranged stack of files, a set of worn cassette tapes labeled with black ink, and a hardened encryption drive connected to an old terminal. This was not the basement of an ordinary mechanic. This was the workplace of someone who dealt in dangerous secrets, someone who lived two lives. Michael opened one of the file boxes nearest him. He found documents stamped with Evergen's logo, pages filled with medical terminology, and diagrams of neural enhancements, immune manipulation, and behavioral control. Another file detailed population trials, rural subjects, with entire towns referenced as data points. He felt a chill crawl up his spine. Rex sniffed a nearby cabinet, barking once at a box with a yellow stripe. Michael opened it and discovered sealed vials stored carefully in padded foam. Each was marked with code names and expiration dates long in the past. Beside the vials lay photographs of ordinary families, including children, with numbers printed below their faces. Innocent people used as experiments. Michael clenched his jaw, anger hardening his voice as he whispered, "Dad, what were you part of?" He inserted the encrypted drive into the old computer terminal. A screen flickered to life, revealing a simple login. His father's initials were etched into the keyboard plate, RSO. As the machine loaded, the cassette tapes caught Michael's attention. He selected one labeled Project Restoration, Carter, Robert. He inserted it into a dusty tape player and pressed play. His father's voice filled the room, older and heavier than Michael remembered. "If you are hearing this, then they have come for you too. Evergen will never allow these truths to see light. They are exploiting lives, manipulating humanity's future for profit. I tried to walk away, but no one leaves Evergen, not alive. Son, if it is you who found this, forgive me. Protect the world from what I helped create." Michael stood frozen, breath caught in his chest. He had never heard his father sound afraid. The recording ended abruptly, leaving a void of dread behind it. Rex whined softly and nudged Michael's hand, sensing the turmoil growing inside him. Michael closed his eyes for a moment, steadying his thoughts. The files he found could take down Evergen, but they also painted his father as a central figure in horrors he never could have imagined. He lifted the drive from the terminal and slipped it into his inner coat pocket. When he turned to leave, Rex's body stiffened. The dog growled at the staircase. Michael quickly turned off the light, plunging them into near darkness. Footsteps creaked above. Someone else had entered the cabin. Michael tightened his grip on the encrypted drive hidden inside his coat, as the echo of footsteps upstairs grew heavier. Rex positioned himself in front of Michael, ready to defend. Through the darkness of the basement, Michael could see the faint outline of boots at the top of the stairs. These were not the panicked steps of a desperate thief like Adam. They were controlled, methodical, belonging to a trained soldier. The enemy had arrived. Michael raised a hand signal. Rex understood and lowered himself silently to the ground. When the figure began descending the stairs, Michael seized his chance. He lunged forward, striking the intruder's arm and knocking a suppressed pistol to the floor. Rex leapt up, teeth bared, forcing the man back. Michael finished with a strike that sent him crashing against the wall, unconscious. He dragged the intruder to the central room and turned on the light again. The man appeared in his late 30s, muscular with a buzz cut and a scar cutting across his right eyebrow. His jaw looked carved from granite, and his black tactical suit bore a patch. Cerberus Security Division, a name known among former soldiers as a ruthless private military contractor. His face suggested a hardened personality shaped by a life without moral boundaries. Michael's heart pounded. If one operative found the house, more were already closing in. He hurried back upstairs with Rex. Adam sat tied to the chair exactly where Michael left him, eyes widened in fear. "What is happening?" Adam stuttered. "They are here for all of us," Michael replied sharply. "You want to live? You help me." Adam nodded desperately, his fear of death stronger than any remaining loyalty to Evergen. Michael freed only Adam's legs, but kept his hands secured behind him. He grabbed a hunting rifle from above the fireplace. a relic from his father's old life. Winters here often demanded protection from wolves, but tonight, wolves of another kind circled the property. Rex growled toward the window, fur raised. Outside, headlights cut through the swirling snow. 3 dark SUVs slid silently into the driveway, doors opening in synchronized motion. Men in all-black tactical gear spread out like predators executing a well-rehearsed plan. The red dots of laser sights danced across the porch railing. Michael extinguished the interior lights. "We move into the woods," he whispered. "They expect us to defend the house. We do not give them what they want." He led Adam and Rex out the back door and into the icy forest. Snow crunched loudly under their boots, despite efforts to move quietly. The bitter cold gnawed at their skin, and the wind whipped snowflakes against their faces like tiny blades. The moon struggled to escape the rolling clouds, offering only brief glimpses of the world ahead. Michael directed them behind fallen logs and thick pine clusters, pushing Adam to keep quiet. He scanned the environment with the steady nerves of someone who had fought in darker nights than this. His mind mapped the terrain, choke points, elevation drops, potential trap zones. Cerberus operatives advanced from 3 sides, communicating with hand signals, their visors glowing faintly under night vision. Michael pointed to a narrow gulch. "They will funnel through there." He ordered Rex to a flank position. The German shepherd slunk through deep snow toward the trees, eyes sharp and eager. At Michael's signal, Adam kicked a loose branch into the ravine, drawing attention. 2 Cerberus soldiers approached cautiously. That was enough. Michael fired a precise shot that struck the first one's leg, causing him to fall with a grunt. Rex attacked the second, knocking him off balance until Michael disarmed him with swift force. Snow sprayed everywhere as bodies collided with ice. Bright flashlights suddenly illuminated the forest. The rest of the squad had spotted them. Gunfire erupted, bullets chewing through frozen bark. Adam screamed and ducked low. Michael dragged him behind cover. "You survive if you stay quiet," Michael hissed. He fired again, striking an operative's chest armor, slowing him enough for Rex to pin him down. Michael grabbed a smoke grenade from the fallen soldier's belt and hurled it. A thick plume covered the area, cloaking their retreat. "Head toward the ridge," Michael shouted. They ran, slipping on hidden patches of ice, lungs burning with cold. Rex stayed ahead, guiding their escape. Behind them, muffled voices shouted and lasers scanned through foggy air. Michael and Adam reached a rocky rise overlooking the valley. Adam collapsed, gasping. "You can't stop them," he croaked. "They are everywhere." Michael checked the encrypted drive again, gripping it as if it were life itself. "Then they will have to go through me." Rex stood at his side, growling into the night as distant lights of Cerberus forces grew brighter through the snowfall. The battle for the truth had just begun, and Michael would not surrender the legacy his father died to protect. Michael and Rex moved swiftly across the ridge, snow still clinging to their coats from the night's brutal conflict. Adam followed between them, shivering not only from the cold, but from the lingering realization that he had narrowly escaped death. The encrypted drive pressed against Michael's chest, like a heartbeat of truth demanding to be seen. The distant glow of Silver Creek's early morning lights appeared through the forest, signaling safety and the next phase of his mission. Just after sunrise, Michael brought Adam to the small county sheriff's station. Sheriff Collins, a tall and powerfully built man in his mid-50s, stood waiting outside. His salt and pepper beard framed a face lined from years of responsibility and loss. His uniform fit snugly on broad shoulders, and his brown eyes held a wary intelligence, He had once served alongside Robert Carter in the National Guard and carried a deep respect for the man. He listened to Michael's rapid summary of events without interrupting, jaw tightening in concern. Rex sat watchful beside Michael, snow melting off his fur, every muscle alert. Adam was taken into custody. Despite his fear, he accepted the arrest, knowing prison might be the only place Evergen could not reach him. Inside Collins's office, Michael explained the encrypted drive and the hidden basement lab. The sheriff understood the stakes immediately. "I believe you," Collins said, voice heavy. "Robert was no criminal. If he did something against Evergen, it was to protect lives, not destroy them." Michael appreciated someone finally acknowledging his father's integrity. But Collins knew that exposing Evergen required more than local authority. He reached into his desk and pulled out a business card. "You should talk to her," he said. The card read, "Eleanor Hayes, investigative journalist." Michael remembered her vaguely. Eleanor had visited the house years ago when Michael was still in high school. She had been one of the rare outsiders his father trusted. Back then, she had been pursuing stories about corruption and unethical experiments across the country. Her work had cost her a career at a major news network, forcing her into independent journalism. She was known for fierce determination and a refusal to be silenced. Collins made a call. Within hours, they met Eleanor at a quiet diner on the edge of town. Eleanor Hayes entered with purpose. She was in her early 40s, tall and lean, wearing a long, dark trench coat over a layered sweater and scarf. Her hair was auburn with strands of silver streaking through, tied into a loose braid that fell over her shoulder. Sharp gray eyes observed everything in the room the moment she stepped inside. Her expression showed intelligence sharpened by battles against powerful enemies and a relentless pursuit of justice. When she saw Michael, she offered a brief but genuine nod. "You look like your father," she said, her voice calm but edged with urgency. Michael handed her the encrypted drive and one of the documents implicating Evergen. Eleanor reviewed them quickly, and her face shifted from focused skepticism to stunned horror. She whispered, "This is bigger than we ever imagined." Rex sat beneath the table, a protective presence watching every passerby. Eleanor promised, "I will get this out. I will make sure the world sees what Evergen has done." Her tone carried the weight of someone who would risk her life to unveil the truth. Michael saw a fire in her eyes that reminded him of his father's recorded message, courage born from conviction. The events moved quickly after that. Eleanor contacted trusted allies in national media. Sheriff Collins coordinated with federal investigators. Within days, Evergen's secret projects were exposed to the public, igniting outrage. Court orders poured in. The company's CEO vanished from the spotlight. Whistleblowers stepped forward. For the first time, the corporation faced genuine accountability. Adam's cooperation helped secure further evidence, and although he faced charges, he also received protective custody. He thanked Michael before being taken to a secure facility, relieved to be alive. Michael returned to the cabin. Snow had begun to melt, revealing patches of brown grass and soft earth beneath. He stood on the porch, breathing in the crisp air. The mountains no longer felt like a prison of shadows, but a sanctuary of memories. Rex nudged his hand, tail wagging slightly. The faithful German shepherd had stood by him through every moment of danger, never wavering. Michael rested a hand on Rex's head. "We're home," he whispered. He had originally come to sell the house, to erase the past. Now he understood that his father had protected the world from hidden evils, carrying burdens he never revealed. This cabin was more than a structure of wood and nails. It was a testament to sacrifice and love. Michael decided he would rebuild, not run. He would honor his father's legacy. From the darkest secrets beneath this home, light had finally risen. Sometimes, God's greatest miracles do not arrive with thunder or lightning. They appear quietly, through the courage of a father who protects others in silence, through the loyalty of a faithful dog by our side, and through the strength inside each of us when we choose what is right over what is easy. Michael thought he came home to say goodbye, yet God had another plan. He gave Michael the truth. He gave him a purpose. He gave him hope again. And just like Michael, each of us faces battles others cannot see. Loneliness, sickness, financial worry, or heartbreak. Yet God walks beside us every moment, even in the darkest night. Sometimes His angels wear fur and 4 paws. If you believe that faith still protects families, if you believe that God's light will always overcome hidden darkness, then please share this story, comment Amen to spread blessings, and subscribe for more stories of hope, love, and redemption. May God bless you, and may His angels watch over you and your loved ones tonight. Amen.